You've probably heard plenty of times that you should make a budget for your money so that you can actually get a handle over it and reach your financial goals, whether that is paying off debt, saving for a emergency fund, or saving for a house, or maybe you just want to buy something that you've been wanting for a long time. But just the thought of it just makes you feel a little overwhelmed, and it doesn't really sit well with you, and it just kind of feels restrictive. By the end of this video, you will see exactly how my wife and I paid off over $20,000 in debt, how we saved a 6 to 8 months emergency fund, and how we saved thousands a month on an average salary. But we certainly didn't start there. We used to feel like budgeting and having a plan for your money was also too restrictive. When Carlene and I first started dating, we were 19 years old and we were just entering adulthood. We weren't making much money at all, and so we had to kind of finance stuff. And when we entered into marriage about 3 years later, I came in with thousands of dollars in debt. $16,000 from student loans and a few thousand from credit card debt. And even though we were making decent money when we came into marriage, there was no plan for it. And so it just kind of seemed like money was coming into our bank account and then just disappearing somehow. One of my biggest fears was ending up with tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. We once attended a Dave Ramsey conference when Carlene and I were just dating, and we heard all of these debt-free stories of people paying off 6 figures, even 7 figures worth of debt. And as amazing as these stories were, all I could think about in my head was, gosh, I do not want to end up like that, with having to say that I paid off 6 to 7 figures of debt. It sounds amazing, but at the same time, that could have been used for something completely different. On top of that, money can fluctuate all the time. So maybe you switch jobs, or maybe there's a medical event that just happens and it sets you in a hole, or you end up having kids. Either way, making a little bit more money doesn't just magically solve the problems, and it could end up just controlling your life. After Carlene and I got married, we told ourselves that we really wanted to change things around. You know, we wanted to pay off all of the debt, and we did not want, when emergencies come up, to feel panic and worry all the time. So we knew that we needed to change things up. Right after we got married, my wife found out about Financial Peace University, and she found a local church that was hosting the event. So we said, let's go ahead and sign up. Walking in knowing that anything could happen, we didn't know if we would actually follow through because, like I said, we attended the Dave Ramsey conference 5 years before then, and we didn't really do anything with it. So I was hoping maybe we'd learn a couple things and learn how to control our finances, but at the least come away with some tips or tricks on how to better manage our money. So we ended up going through the entire 8-week course, got the workbook, attended every session, and we did every single task that each session told you to do. Like, you walk away with action items and things that you need to do for your budget. And we attended that with some friends of ours, hoping that the increased accountability would help us along the way. And interestingly enough, I think we walked away with the most change in our lives. A lot of our friends used some of the principles but didn't really apply it, and so they ended up making purchases and decisions that just put themselves deeper in a hole. Whereas we really went the opposite way and became pretty radical about a lot of the stuff that is taught in that course. And yeah, it really changed things around for us. More than anything though, we knew that at the end of the day, numbers don't lie. So we knew that we needed to actually make a monthly budget, and here's how we did it. First, we went through our entire month's spending so that we could actually see how much we were spending every month. And we were literally blown away when we calculated the totals of what we were actually spending. We thought that we were spending a lot less on food, gifts, events, all those things that just kind of come up. And we thought that we were spending maybe a couple hundred every month on food and going out to eat. But when we calculated it, it was actually on the upper end of $1,200 a month. And on an average salary, that is astronomical. So all of those lunch breaks eating out, all of those dinners eating out, and just being too lazy to cook food at home really started to add up. Long story short, we generally underestimate our spending, especially when we don't track it. We then started to write out our fixed and semi-fixed expenses, such as rent, water, electricity, cable, haircuts. For me, like every 2 to 3 weeks I get those. And these are the things that don't really change unless you look at your budget and you're like, man, I'm paying way too much for cable, maybe I should downgrade. But other than that, these are the expenses that you could say aren't really going to change because you don't plan on your lifestyle changing that much. So you can write those down and that will be a staple on every single month of your budget. After that, we are going to plan and budget for things that are variable, that can change from month to month. So for us, food, groceries, gifts, or parties and events, those things can kind of vary from month to month. And even though groceries, we budget for ourselves $200 every week, sometimes things come up like parties or holidays where we have to up our budget. So though we keep those as semi-fixed, it's really a variable expense and we try to budget for that every month. And when you do that, you can look at other areas and see, is there ways that I can cut back on, let's say, eating out, if we're gonna do more events at home and plan more meals. So again, you have a little bit more leeway with those variable expenses. But sit down and really think about your month. Do you have anything coming up? Do you have a party or an event or a get-together that you know is gonna happen? Maybe you need to get an oil change, or it's Mother's Day, or it's your anniversary. So you don't want to forget those things because they are important. But just sitting down and making a budget for those things give us so much more peace of mind and helped us feel like we weren't splurging on things because we didn't see them coming. Plus, taking out cash for certain expenses can really help you manage an area that you're struggling to stop overspending in. And the reason why that is because if you take out cash for, let's say, eating out or groceries or whatever you're really trying to get a handle over, once you're out of the cash, you're out. We then want to make a savings goal and pay ourselves first. So when we first started this, we really wanted to pay off all of our debt. And that took us only about 10 months, so we did it really fast. And after that, we wanted to save up an emergency fund and make sure that we were set for any emergencies that come up, and then eventually start saving for a house down payment, which we're doing now, and saving for retirement. So we made our savings goal first, and every time we got paid, we would pay ourselves first. So I get paid bi-weekly, and so I would look at what is coming out within this next 2 weeks, including the variable expenses, and then I would give myself a $100 to $200 buffer, and the rest of that money, the difference between those expenses and the buffer, is what is going into the savings account. This really helped me pay myself first and helped me see that that extra money was not just extra spending money, and it helped us literally save thousands of dollars. And it takes away the willpower aspect of, oh, if I don't spend and I stick to my budget perfectly, at the end of the month, I will have exactly this much to pay into my savings. When you do that, you're leaving a lot of things up to chance. But if you do it when you get paid, then it's dummy proof. And all the willpower comes with you needing to stick to what you said you were gonna do with the other expenses and the things that you take cash out for. And it's guaranteed that you're gonna save money. Because let's be honest, when we see extra money, we like to spend it. All right, so now we've got a plan for the month and we can just set it and forget it, right? Wrong. Like anything in life that you want to achieve, whether that's weight loss or your financial goals, you actually need to track it. You need to track whether or not you are spending the way that you said you would spend. And so the way that you can do this is every week or 2 weeks, you can look at your spending on your bank account and compare that to the budget that you have written out or planned on Excel or software, and you can compare it that way. I like to use You Need a Budget. It's really simple. It's an online software that makes it really simple for you to track your transactions. It links to your bank account safely, and it's encrypted. So that has helped me track my expenses every single time they happen. And so I can drag them into the right bucket. And if I've overspent in, let's say, groceries, those variable areas, then I can move money into a different area to offset those costs. Ideally, you don't want to do that, but life happens, and you don't want minor setbacks to make you just feel like I'm just going to throw away the budget and not do it anymore. If you want to make huge progress in the money area of your life, then you've got to do this. This will save you so much more stress and heartaches and headaches over worrying about money, and help you save thousands a month and save towards your future, and allow you to have so much more financial freedom and joy in your life. So what more could you want this year? Make this year your best year ever. Oddly enough, what really helped us financially was making our lifestyle more minimal. If you want to see what that looks like and how it could help you, then we made this playlist on the left here for you. Make sure you subscribe to our channel, and we will see you in the next video.